Come on. Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
All right. Once again, we are on. He is the great Mike Steph. I am the Mojo King, and this is Hidden Gems Football, brought to you by the 19 Media Group. Before I kick it off to my partner here, let me first say thank you, yes, you listeners, for listening and choosing us to partake in the NFL action. We strive, we thrive because of you. Please like, subscribe, tell a friend, because we love you. It's all love. You know, Mike Steph has some hate, but love here.
I'm benevolent.
Sure.
Shoot.
Okay, Mike Steph, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing all right, all things considering. You know, personally, I'm doing great. You know, sports-wise, I guess I've been better, but my Mets are still in a tie for the last wild card spot. But this is not Hidden Gems baseball. This is Hidden Gems football. So, football terms, I got a lot of things to get off my chest, and I swear that ticket is so apropos. Let's not panic. So, no panic over here. Smooth sailing.
All right, cool. You know, in support of you, I've decided not to shave until the Jets win. So hopefully next week I'll be clean shaven, but maybe I'll look like Santa Claus by Christmas.
You really gonna use my Jets as an excuse not to shave? Only reason I'm talking this ish is because I got my nice little shape up from my Dominican barber choice. You know, I was doing promo in the streets. Look, I do a lot of things to try to spread the word of HGF. So, but yeah, okay. You know, I want to see this clean shaven with the soul patch next week.
Hey, I don't know. Got to panic about the Titans. But anyway, let's jump into your one big thing.
My one big thing is the theme of the day. And my theme of the week is Overreaction Monday, a couple of days late. See, listen, don't let the smiling exterior fool you. I am not in a good mood at all. I'm tired. I'm hurt. And after I finish recording, I got to go work with children at my shoe job. First things first, my New York Jets lost this past Monday. But that's not why I'm pissed. Nope. Not at all. Losses are expected. And to tell you the truth, compared to last year when the season was over after 4 plays, just getting to the second quarter with Rodgers intact was a win in my book. My angst stems from the fact that for the next week, I'm going to have to hear and see the pundits continue the narrative that's been out there for the whole preseason. The Jets are overrated. Rodgers is washed. The absence of Hassan Reddick is glamour. Why do we have to see this nothing team on prime time so much? Yada, yada, yada. Another issue was the fact that my defense got manhandled, got punched in the mouth, got taken advantage of, if you will. The 49ers had themselves a nice subscription to Blue Chew and went to town on my New York Jets. Yes, I know this is a PG show, and that's why I said it in those terms. They meaning my Jets defense allowed third-year running back Jordan Mason to run over us. Matter of fact, the physicality of the Niners wasn't matched at all in the trenches, play calling, etc. But at the end of the day, it's only one loss. One loss. That's it. Should we crown the Eagles world beaters due to Saquon Barkley debut in Eagles green? No. Is Sam Darnold's performance against the Giants going to lead to his MVP campaign? No. Are the Patriots going to go 17-0 based on their victory this last week? No. Are the Bengals really that bad? No. It's a long season, and it's just started. I'm encouraged by a lot and worried by very little. I've said for years, I don't run from the smoke. I create the smoke. I become the smoke. I wear my colors proudly and will continue to do so. 1 down, 16 to go. And that is Mike Steph's one big thing. Yeah.
Okay, I have one very quick question because you point out one down, 16 to go.
Yes.
Does that mean your Jets are not making the playoffs?
You know, you just brought something up that I just realized that we neglected to talk about in our season premiere. We didn't give no predictions whatsoever about who we were going to play for the Super Bowl, who was going to go to the Super Bowl, and who our playoff teams or anything. So I think, time permitting, we should say that to the very last to the very last part of this year's episode.
Okay.
Yes, the Jets are going to make the playoffs. Think I'm decked out in green? Think Jetty is decked out in green for me to doubt my Jets? Yeah, all right.
16 more to go.
16 more to go.
Yeah, and that's it. Okay. Now, Thursday night football. The Buffalo Bills are traveling to Miami to face the Dolphins. The Dolphins are 1.5 point favorites, and the total is projected to be 48.5 points. That means that Vegas is projecting the Bills to score 23.5, while the Dolphins score 25. Both teams are 1-0. As far as injuries, Buffalo nickel defensive back Taron Johnson is already ruled out for Thursday. Meanwhile, that's basically all they have as far as issues. Josh Allen is good to go. He had his wrist bandage up, but they say he's fine for the week. On the Dolphins side, there are some significant questions. Both Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane are questionable. Mostert with the shoulder injury, Achane with the ankle. Their replacements, by the way, in case you were curious, Jeff Wilson, a former 49er, and rookie Jalen Wright, who was inactive last week. He would probably be active this week. But also for the Dolphins, other starters on injury report include an offensive lineman, an outside linebacker, and a cornerback, that cornerback being Jalen Ramsey. All of those are questionable. Mike Steph, I went through the injury report. What do you think about this game? Who you got?
I'll start with the Bills. The Bills started the season on the winning note, with a come-from-behind victory against those feisty Cards from Arizona. Josh Allen accounted for 4 touchdowns, 2 on the ground and 2 in the air. But one of the areas in which Sean McDermott has expressed concern was for the special teams unit, both giving up a kickoff return and kicking the balls out of bounds, and the ensuing kickoff kept that game closer than it should have been, and that needs to be tightened up. But here's another question. If they gave up 28 points to Arizona, shouldn't that be worrisome going into a short week matchup against these potent Miami Dolphins on the road? Now, dealing with the Dolphins, they began the season in the winning column with the last-second victory against those Jacksonville Jaguars. The production from the running game was non-existent, but they did have a big game from Tua, who threw for 338 yards and a touchdown added in. The dynamic duo on the outside with Hill and Waddle combined for 12 catches and 239 yards receiving. They were averaging damn near 20 yards per catch. The one catch that Hill did actually avoid was catching a charge in his pregame detainment by the Dade County Police. So that brings us to the question at hand. Who do I have, Buffalo or Miami? Well, before I give this my answer, I will have to say, last week, when doing our predictions, and I told you I was going to be in charge of those predictions, so Mr. TheMoJoKing over here was 3-0, both against the spread and with the over-unders. I was 2-1 due to my love of my gangrene. So I will go against my wisdom, and I will go with the Bills plus 1.5, and the over-under. I could see this easily going over based on the matchups that they had last season, based on the fact that it's still early in the season and it is a short week. So Bills plus 1.5, and I will go over 48.5 points.
All right. I'm halfway with you. So looking into week 1, I would say both teams showed a little bit of issues but they both came up with victories. So I guess that's all that matters. You are what your record is. Statistically, the Dolphins looked great. Tua had over 300 yards. Waddle had over 100 yards. Tyreek Evans had 130 and a touchdown. Achane had 100 yards of scrimmage, but they weren't putting up points against the Jags. Meanwhile, Buffalo was absolutely dominated for most of the first half until they scored right at the end of the second quarter. And that pretty much turned the game. After that, they just turned it on and basically blitzed Arizona. Coming out of those games, I still think both teams are what I thought they were. They're going to win a lot of games, but they're not impenetrable. They're not invincible like maybe the team out in San Francisco is. So I like what I think the Bills are and what I saw from the Bills this past week. Josh Allen looked like a possible MVP candidate, as he usually does. So I like the Bills this week, but I am actually going to go under. The Dolphins had their moments, but didn't look quite as explosive as I would necessarily think they are. So I think the Bills might be able to hold them down a little bit, while I think the Bills will be fine running the ball and running the clock. So I'm going to go Bills for the win plus the 1.5, and then also take the under.
Yo, what's up? I'm Desmond, and I'm the host of Hip to the Games, a podcast from 19 Media Group, where the brilliance of basketball and hip-hop's past and present is genuinely appreciated. Join me every other Friday as we celebrate some of the greatest artists, albums, moments, songs, bars, punchlines, NBA teams, players, just anything and everything to do with the game of rap and the game of basketball. See, if you like basketball and hip-hop, that means you're hip to the games. But no matter where you fall on that spectrum, I encourage you to join the fun every other Friday on your favorite podcast platform, courtesy of the great 19 Media Group.
You know, we love talking survivor picks. For last week, there was one big team that got eliminated that people were picking. It was actually the most picked team in the league for week 1, and that was the Cincinnati Bengals, the ones that we told you not to pick. They were eliminated, and 1/3 of all survivor entries are now gone after week 1. That's just off of the Bengals. The next most selected team that lost was actually the Atlanta Falcons, but that was only at 3%. Overall, about 39% of ownerships are eliminated from Survivor already. So if you're in that 61%, I think you have to be feeling pretty good to get through 1 week and lose that many people. Week 1 was difficult. Week 2 doesn't look as difficult on the surface. So first, let's talk about the biggest spread that there is out there. The Las Vegas Raiders, they're going to Baltimore to face the Ravens. The Ravens are 9.5-point favorites at home. The total is projected to be 41.5 points, which means that Vegas is saying that the Raiders will score 16 points and the Ravens will score 25.5. Both teams lost last week, although under different circumstances. As far as injuries, we have no main injuries of note, except we're recording this a little bit early, and Lamar Jackson is said to have missed Monday's practice. Now, Monday isn't really a practice. They don't really practice on Monday, so it's kind of projected. But it was an interesting note that they decided not to practice Lamar Jackson on Monday. Coaching staff did not give any further information on it, so we're kind of up in the air on that. I'll go with the idea that Lamar Jackson's okay. Mike Steph, is there any reason not to take the Ravens in Survivor?
Not in particular. Even though this is the 3rd season, I still always have to get my mind around the fact that it's win or lose, not based on point spreads or what have you. So I can definitely see the Ravens winning. But that's not actually the team I would pick in Survivor. Based on the results of week 1, which, you truly try not to overreact. The game that I'm looking at right now that I'm zeroing in on is the Chargers at the Panthers. To me, that's a good pick, and I would be picking the Chargers. Based on 2 things. One, the game that the Panthers had last week, which was totally dreadful, but not so much about their production just for the fact that the more disciplined team going into that game is definitely the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh, they're already taking his personality. They pretty much bludgeoned the Raiders in that second half on the ground. J.K. Dobbins seemed like he's rebounded great, but his injury plagued last couple years. So even though they're going cross country, I think they have that DNA in Harbaugh. So that's the game I would actually zero in on for survival, would be the Chargers over the Panthers.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. That's definitely going to be one of my options to look at. The idea of just how bad Carolina was. The only thing that makes me a little bit nervous is because obviously the Chargers are on the road in that game. But just to put it in perspective, like I said, this is not quite like week 1, which I thought it was very, very tough. In this week, like I mentioned, you have the Ravens, but you also have Kansas City, Dallas, Detroit, Houston, and Philadelphia, all at home and at least 6-point favorites, which makes them all options. But like you, I'm going a little bit off the board. I do like that Chargers pick, but I think I'm going to look at another team that's playing at home, and I'm going to take Washington playing the Giants. The reason I'm doing it is because the Giants looked so bad, and Washington, I don't think, is a very good team, but they did not look like the train wreck the Giants are. I'm not sure if I will be able to take the Commanders any other time during the season. So I might as well try to take Washington at home versus a team that's struggling.
Begrudgingly, I can see that. The only caveat I would say for those who are thinking in that realm would be the total domination that even when the Giants, quote unquote, suck, they always beat the Commanders. Remember, last year, the Giants won 6 games. 30-day games that they won was against the Commanders. And those are the games that they actually looked like a competent unit. So I can see where you're going. Due to personal reasons, I'm not going to really jump on that bandwagon. I can see where you're going. But facts are facts. So yeah, Giants always, if they don't play well against the other 31 teams, they play well against DC.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a risk there, and that's a good point to bring up. If you feel like playing it safe, I definitely understand playing one of the other ones, or if you feel like taking a little bit of risk, I also get going with the Chargers. Obviously, I'm in multiple survivors. I'm not going to strictly pick Washington across the board. I'm going to spread it out a little bit, but Washington is, to me, an interesting target to get them out of the way and possibly sneak in a win. I kind of like the idea of that. As far as the Ravens go, I'm probably not going to take them just because I feel like I could take them later in the season when there's less options for me to pick. Right. The top teams I try to hold them on to, when I don't have many options that week. So a team like Kansas City, a team like San Francisco, when they are playing, when you don't have many options, it's always good to go with one of them because, they'll probably win, especially if they play against an average team. Oh, man, I'm having fun this week. Let's move on to the Sunday night game. It's the Chicago Bears heading to Houston to face the Texans. Both teams are 1-0, but Houston is a 6.5-point favorite. Vegas has the total projected out to 45.5 points, which means that the Bears would score 19.5 while Houston scores 26. There's only one injury of note, but it's a pretty significant one. Chicago's Rome Odunze is out. He has a knee injury. He's listed as week to week, but he's getting an MRI on it, maybe more significant. Meanwhile, Houston came through week 1 pretty healthy. Mike Steph, what do you think about this game?
Well, I'll start with the Bears. The streak was broken with the ugly victory by the Bears this past Sunday. Caleb Williams was the first drafted number 1 overall quarterback with a win on opening week since 2002. The past 15 all lost their debuts. And to be honest, if it wasn't for an inexcusable mistake by Will Levis flipping an errant pass for a pick 6, the Bears would have lost. Williams' stat line was 14-29 for 93 yards. They had less than 200 yards of total offense. To me, the verdict is still out on head coach Matt Eberflus. And while the defense did its job, too much has been invested on the offensive side for this to be more than an hiccup. Now, when it comes to the Texans won a shootout versus the Colts, 29-27. The two newest acquisitions played a big part in that victory. Joe Mixon had 159 yards on 30 carries, which definitely gave the offense balance and a tough mentality. Stephon Diggs had 6 catches, but more importantly, had 2 touchdowns in his debut. And C.J. Stroud looked great as usual, spreading the ball around, and Nico Collins was the main recipient with 119 receiving yards. So far, so good for the sophomore year of both Stroud and DeMeco Ryans. So that brings me to my pick. I think I will be going with the Houston Texans. Minus 6.5. I think they're going to cover because I just think they have too much offensive firepower. And more importantly, they have a better quarterback at this time, which I believe is going to be that way going forward. But they have a better established quarterback at this time. And Caleb Williams is still having growing pains, as he should, because this is only going to be his second start. As for that over-under, being the fact is that Houston, I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to go under because even though I think Houston is going to win and cover, I don't have faith on Chicago Bears' part that they're going to do their part in bringing that over. So I don't believe Houston is going to blow them out. I believe the defense of Chicago is going to keep them somewhat competitive, but I don't think it's going to be a barn burner by any extent. So Houston, the cover, under.
Well, we're going to do kind of similar like we did to the first game here, in that I'm going with you on the winner and the points as far as Houston, but I'm going to go over. And my theory here is that looking at game one, the Bears looked really bad, extremely bad. And that was not expected. And obviously it's only one game. So how much do you take out of that? Caleb Williams, the reports were so glowing about him. I'm going to somewhat excuse this game one to a degree, but not getting over 100 yards passing is questionable at best. And like you pointed out, they scored 24 points, except it was a special teams touchdown and a pick six. Their offense literally scored 9 points. Houston clicked just like they're supposed to, just like everybody expected, what you would hope for. Like you said, the new acquisitions just fitting in perfectly, but this offense looks like everything is clicking for them. So I expect Houston to score a lot. I don't expect the Bears to score a lot, but I expect them to look a little bit better because how could they look worse? I think Houston will score 30. So I just need the Bears to get to 16. But I'm predicting 31-17 final here.
But it was all Justin Fields' fault, right? Remember, all their woes was on Justin Fields. And guess who ended up victorious last week between Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears? I'm just saying, I believe the problem is still in Chicago and it's on the sideline. But that's just me.
Let's move to our last game of the week, Monday Night Football. The 0-1 Atlanta Falcons are traveling to Philadelphia to face the 1-0 Eagles. The Eagles are 6.5-point favorites, and the projected total is 47.5 points. That means Vegas is telling us the Falcons will score 20.5 points, while the Eagles score 27. No key injuries of note, at least as far as our recording today. So, Mike Steph, what do you think about this game?
Well, I'll start with the Falcons. The Falcons underwhelmed in the debut of Kirk Cousins with the 30 birds. The reason I'm laughing because I'm going to see my brother-in-law in about 2 weeks, and I'll be able to just by that time, it was probably 0-3, and I could just really rub it in his face, but that's neither here nor there. My question is this. Was it due to the greatness of the defense that they faced with T.J. Watt in the mind of Mike Tomlin and his Pittsburgh Steelers? Or was it the fact that Kirk Cousins is just being Kirk Cousins? Or more specifically, the Falcons being the Falcons? Ray McLeod was the top man with 4 receptions to 52 yards. Ray McLeod. Wow. When Ray and them is your leading weapon with everything that's been invested in this team, they're gonna be in trouble. Bijan Robinson, 18 for 68. Pitts, 3 for 26 with a touchdown. But yeah, like I said, the Falcons just falconing. Now, as for the Eagles had Saquon Barkley He was on fire in his debut, 3 touchdowns, all-purpose weapon, definitely as advertised. But to me, the more pressing issue is what's up with Jalen Hurts. If you look back, the great season he had, that MVP season that he had in that Super Bowl appearance, wasn't really due to Nick Sirianni. It was due to offensive coordinator at the time, Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen is now in Indianapolis doing wonders with Anthony Richardson. Since Shane Steichen is gone, you had the collapse from last year, and yeah, they won the game, but they won the game based on Saquon Barkley because Hurts was doing everything in his power to throw away that game. Now, after what came out during the offseason about the strained relationship between the quarterback and the head coach, it bears watching how the early part of this schedule goes. So, getting to the matter at hand, who am I picking? I really don't want to pick the Eagles, so I won't. I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to have a bounce back. Oh, damn. I just remembered something. Something just reared its ugly head. Kirk Cousins in prime time. Matter of fact, Kirk Cousins after dark.
I knew it was coming.
Damn it. And I remember it was either last year, the year before, Minnesota went into Philly, and he just coughed it up. Damn. Philly, 6.5. Over, under, go under.
Yeah, I'm with Philly in the points too. They look too good and the Falcons look too bad. That over-under is the one that's got me questioning because Kirk Cousins looked really bad. He was 6 for 26, 155 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. As you point out, that touchdown was to Pitts. Pitts was literally standing by himself for a while before Kirk Cousins found him. So literally, I could have threw that touchdown. He looked really bad. Drake London, by the way, had 2 receptions for 15 yards. That's their number 1 receiver. It's Bijan or bust. Like, I really hope that Cousins has a little bit more in the tank than that, or otherwise maybe we're going to see the rookie Penix sooner than later. I feel like, and this is my veteran bias here, because I just questioned Caleb Williams, and I think, I thought that they weren't going to score enough. I feel like Cousins will have more of a showing this week. Maybe in garbage time, start scoring, flinging the ball around, maybe get a couple of touchdowns. So I'm going to go over. I don't really feel too comfortable at the over, but I do feel like Philadelphia is going to whip some butt. And by the way, I'm feeling a little bit better about my Saints selection to win this division.
Listen, Baker was looking good. Baker was looking good. I'm sorry. I'm not even the biggest Baker Mayfield fan, but that connection he has with Evans and Godwin.
All right. Let's just hold the phone there, because the Washington secondary is probably the worst in the league. So let me see him play somebody legitimate first, and then I will think about changing my opinion on Baker Mayfield. But not today. Exactly. Today, it's all about the Saints running that division. And that's a perfect time for us to get out of here.
No. Yeah, I know I'm behind the 8 ball when it comes to time, but promise something at the very beginning of this episode, and we're going to stick to our word. We can just narrow it down to our Super Bowl matchup and our Super Bowl winner.
Kansas City looks like they should make the Super Bowl pretty easily. And in the NFC, I'm actually going with the Lions. If you listen to the previews, I was pretty high on the Lions. And I'm going to go with the Lions to stop the three-peat.
I swear, you must have got some type of bug in my head, because that was my Super Bowl matchup. The Lions and the Chiefs. The matchup we should have had last year. And I want to hope that Dan Campbell learned the lesson from last year, and he'll actually get to the Super Bowl. So, unfortunately, I believe the Chiefs are going to three-peat, and maybe that's some wishful thinking. So, wishful thinking as in the opposite is going to happen, but regardless, I think it's going to be Detroit versus the Chiefs. Chiefs are going to three-peat. And of course, you know what? I think I put enough X on this team. I'm just going. I think they're going to beat the Jets to get into the championship game.
They're playing them during the regular season?
No.
Okay. All right, Mike Steph, take us home.
This has been a very, very trying edition of Hidden Gems Football due to my partner to the left of me. But yeah, exactly. He got the mute button on for a reason. Shoot, just like I had the mute button on just now, just to kind of conserve our political connects and potential sponsors. You know, that's not Blue Chew, but neither here nor there. Hidden Gems Football is in a part up there. Goodbye.
The chicken returns next week.
Listen, he could return, but listen, don't we make such a good pair? Oh my goodness.
Definitely matching.
Yeah, we match, even though he got the old one, but regardless.
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
Oh, I'm having fun this week. Oh, yeah.
I bet you are.
All right.
You're so lucky this time. Go ahead. I'm gonna get my revenge. Might not be this week, might not even be next week, but trust and believe, somehow, some way, I'm gonna get my revenge before the end of the season. But continue. Have your fun.
All right.
See, nice and calm. You see the zen. You see, listen, no beef. I'm just saying. I see where you're headed.
It's a mere coincidence.
Yeah, I'm quite sure. Since you're recording, I'm gonna give you this little ditty. Been almost 2 years and your boy still here. No vices, no licks, no bud, no beer. But I don't miss a thing. Still move like a king. Expand my empire like Terrence Howard, man. Yeah, the line's dated, but so all my days faded. Astounded to me how I moved around with such hatred. Nope.
That's funny. I pressed record and then left.
Yeah, you're gonna have a surprise when you edit.